The security checkpoint at Nexus Station hummed with the usual chaos of 1,000 species, trying to get somewhere important. Ambassador Krelix of the Zenthari Collective tapped 3 of his forearms impatiently against the crystalline surface of his data tablet, watching the line crawl forward with the enthusiasm of a dying star. Ahead of him stood a human. Unremarkable, really. The species had only joined the Galactic Council 3 cycles ago, still considered newcomers by most established civilizations. This one wore a simple gray jacket and dark trousers, carrying nothing but a small travel case. His hair was cropped short, peppered with gray at the temples, and his face carried the weathered look of someone who had seen too many planetary rotations. The human stepped through the scanner. Every alarm in the security station erupted simultaneously. Red light flooded the checkpoint. Krelix's translator chip shrieked warnings in 17 languages at once. Security drones descended from the ceiling like mechanical wasps, their weapons charging with an ominous whine. The human simply stood there, hands raised slowly, his expression tired but unsurprised. Step away from the scanner. The head of security, a hulking Kragner with scales like burnished copper, thundered forward. You are carrying prohibited weaponry. Bioweapons. Explosive materials. The human shook his head slowly. I'm not carrying anything. The scanner doesn't lie, human. The Kragner's mandibles clicked furiously. It detects... He paused, his golden eyes widening as he read the display. It detects residual radiation consistent with... No, that's impossible. Krelix felt his curiosity override his impatience. He edged closer, using his diplomatic clearance to access the security feed. What he saw made his blood freeze in his veins. The scanner wasn't detecting weapons. It was detecting scars. Radiation burns covering 40% of the human's body, cellular damage consistent with exposure to a Class 7 plasma detonation, bone fractures that had healed at odd angles, suggesting improper medical treatment, tissue regeneration patterns that indicated the human's own immune system had somehow pulled him back from the edge of death without proper medical intervention. Most damning of all, molecular signatures matching the Kethral Annihilator, a weapon so devastating that 73 civilizations had signed treaties banning even its theoretical research. You survived the Kethral strike on Proxima 7, Krelix heard himself say, his voice barely a whisper. The checkpoint fell silent. Every being within earshot turned to stare. The human's jaw tightened. I did. That's impossible, the Kragner security chief said flatly. The Kethral Annihilator leaves no survivors. It converts matter directly to energy. It's designed to erase everything within a 50-kilometer radius. The heat alone, I know what it does. The human's voice was quiet, but it carried weight. I was there when the Sarkathi Dominion fired it at our colony. 300,000 people lived on Proxima 7. When the weapon hit, I was doing maintenance on a deep-core mining rig, 3 kilometers underground. Krelix accessed his historical database. The Proxima 7 incident. It had happened 18 months ago during humanity's border dispute with the Sarkathi. The Galactic Council had condemned the attack, but by the time peacekeepers arrived, there was nothing left but a crater of molten glass spanning hundreds of kilometers. No survivors had been reported. The blast wave traveled through solid rock. The human continued, his eyes distant, turned the mining rig into a pressure cooker. My crewmates died instantly when the supports collapsed. I was trapped for 6 days in a pocket of air no bigger than a cargo container. Temperature reached 400 degrees. The radiation, well, he gestured at himself. Your scanner can tell you what that did. How did you survive? Someone in the crowd asked. The human smiled, but there was no humor in it. Humans are stubborn. We don't die easy. I rationed my water supply drop by drop. I used my own blood to cool burns when the water ran out. I dug through 30 meters of collapsed tunnel with my bare hands and a broken support beam. When I finally reached the surface, the rescue teams had already left. They'd declared the planet sterile. So you sent a distress signal, Krelix said. The communications array was slag. I walked 400 kilometers to the northern emergency bunker. Took me 3 weeks. I ate nutrient paste from abandoned supply caches and drank water from contaminated reservoirs. Every step felt like dying. Every breath was knives in my lungs. The security chief's scales had paled to a dull bronze. The radiation levels should have killed me. I know, but I kept walking, because if I died, no one would know what the Sarkathi did. No one would speak for the 300,000 people who were erased in an instant. The human's voice hardened. So I survived. Out of spite, if nothing else. Krelix found himself reevaluating everything he thought he knew about humans. The species was young, inexperienced, with technology centuries behind the Council's elite members. They had no natural armor, no enhanced immune systems, no psionic abilities. They were considered fragile by galactic standards. But this human had endured conditions that would kill a Kragner warrior in minutes. Had survived radiation that would reduce a Zenthari to a puddle of dissolved tissue. Had walked through an apocalypse through sheer, bloody-minded determination. The security chief looked at his display, then at the human, then back at his display. This is unprecedented. The scanner classifies you as a walking war crime. I'm a witness, the human corrected, and I'm here to testify at the council hearing against the Sarkathi Dominion. So unless you plan to arrest me, I have an appointment with the Justice Tribunal. The Kragner hesitated for only a moment before deactivating the alarms. You're cleared for entry, human, and for what it's worth, your people are fortunate to have you. The human picked up his travel case and walked through the checkpoint, limping slightly on his left leg. As he passed Krelix, the ambassador caught a glimpse of the man's eyes, dark, haunted, but burning with an intensity that transcended mere anger. It was purpose. Forged in fire and radiation and impossible survival. Krelix watched him disappear into the crowd and made a mental note to revise his assessment of humanity. They might be young. They might lack the technology or natural advantages of older species, but they possessed something far more dangerous. The absolute refusal to surrender. Even when death itself seemed inevitable. The galaxy would learn to respect that, or it would learn to fear it.